Okay. We're moving. We're good. Okay. Let's close this up. Since I was a senior in college, I had a homemade vocal booth. I built it out of PVC pipes and vocal booth to go blankets, as I'm sure many amateur or beginner voice actors have. PVC pipe booths are the most common budget-friendly option on the internet, but when you need to be able to take it down to move, for example if you live in an apartment or a college dorm, those booths can be pretty unstable while holding about 30 pounds of blankets. I didn't have any issues with this though, as I can just be mindful of bumping or shifting as I got in and out, and for almost a year and a half, that made things work. That is, until we got Scout. Scout, for those of you who don't know, is my kitten. She's an adorable tortie cat whom I love dearly. But when she gets hyper, she likes to run and climb things, usually at the same time. She also really likes the audio blankets and enjoys getting in between them and the walls in my office. One unfortunate afternoon, she was in a particularly hyper mood and tried to do all those things at once, sprinting in between the booth and the wall and trying to scale to the top. What this adorable little kitten didn't understand, however, is momentum. She quickly toppled the booth over onto itself, sending pipes and blankets crashing to the ground. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is why Scout is not allowed in the office anymore. It was then that I realized that the booth structure I had been using was no longer good enough for my living environment. I needed something more stable. Cue where this video had originally started, rebuilding and upgrading the booth. I had originally purchased 2 Vocal Booth To Go Flex T stands and a ceiling blanket, as they were designed to work specifically with their blankets and could each create a half-square wall. I thought my luck couldn't get better, especially after talking to whoever runs their YouTube account and them saying that it could work, but it's not something they've exactly done, and then suggested that the ceiling blankets could be used as a lighter roof instead of the full-size blanket. So once they arrived at my apartment, I began recording and building. Unfortunately, this did not go well. After assembling them, I quickly realized that not only were they too big for the space I was using, but the tripod base that they had kept the stands from being stable with my spatial constrictions and pushed the blankets forward at the bottom, even further restricting the space I could use. Okay, so after a lot of trial and error and test fitting, because unfortunately tripods, the more sturdy they get with the heavier stuff, the wider they get, which means the smaller the actual, space gets to be. So, unfortunately, I need to have it be pretty adjustable. On top of this, the ceiling blanket didn't work at all for covering the space, even just for one half-wall section, and they were too unstable to attempt to use my other full-size blanket. So they got returned. I was back at square one. I couldn't just rebuild the PVC booth, as Scout could knock it right back down, and Vocal Booth To Go didn't have any solutions that could work for me. So I decided to get a bit creative. I went to Lowe's and purchased some structural pipes, elbow fittings, connectors, and floor flanges, along with some mass-loaded vinyl. I kinda went all out because I figured my third iteration should be my final one. It took me about half an hour to set everything up, as opposed to the 1 to 2 hours it would take me with the shifty PVC pipes, and it sits at a whopping 2.5 foot by 3 foot by 6 foot with a mass-loaded vinyl floor mat cut to fit the general dimensions of the booth. While I used structural pipes from SteelTech and purchased them through Lowe's, I'm sure 3/4-inch structural pipes from any other brand or hardware store would do just as good of a job. Once everything was set up, the new booth didn't budge. The steel sits together so much sturdier than the PVC, and being out of structural pipes means that I will never have an issue with Scout adding too much weight when trying to climb it. She actually has attempted to scale it a few times since building it, and the booth didn't move at all. Little fun fact, this entire video has been recorded in the new booth, so needless to say, everything's working out pretty well for me. If anyone wants to emulate my idea for their own booth frame, I'll put a list of materials down below. I also added in a small rug that I bought at Walmart and a lamp that was left at my apartment when I moved in as a light source. But if you're already looking into building your own booth, or you already have your own booth, you know that these kinds of elements can be done however you want with whatever you want. All in all, recreating this booth would put you in the $400 range, varying here and there with shipping costs and if prices get updated. But all things considered, that's still fairly budget-friendly compared to non-homemade options out there. If you like this little story time, let me know. This channel is my creative outlet, so a bit of everything gets uploaded here, but if something really sticks with people, I'm happy to do it more often. Have a good rest of your day, night, evening, whatever your time zone says it is, and I'll hopefully see you all in the next one. Peace out. All right, I think that was good. I really hope I don't have to record more just because I want to get this out relatively quickly. Yeah, well, let's go.